Overwatch PTR has been going through some massive changes as of recent. One of the biggest ones being the addition of Overwatch's new hero, Sigma. But Sigma deserves his own video talking about his character and abilities in depth eventually. It'll more likely be made after Sigma is released to the live branch. But the biggest addition to the PTR that's really going to change how Overwatch is played in the future is Role Queue, a feature that the Overwatch community has been requesting for quite some time. And now, it's finally here. So, what do I think? Is this edition really going to be as groundbreaking as people want it to be? Let's get into that. Hey, what's going on, geeks? Maxusthebeast is here, and welcome back to Overwatch. Now today we are talking about Role Queue, and what this means for the future of matchmaking, and why it's going to permanently change the balance of the game. And in my opinion, for the better. Now, first of all, let's talk about what Role Queue is, right? Role Queue is a means to counter filling. Now, if you don't know what the term filling is, I mean, I'm sure if you've been in the Overwatch community or played MOBAs before, you know what the term filling means. But in case you don't, let me fill you in. Okay, I'll stop. Filling is essentially, well, filling a gap on the team. What I mean by gap is the lack of a specific hero that a team needs to succeed, i.e. tanks or supports. I named those two roles specifically because they are typically the two roles that are often forgot about, that people don't want to be, and that people have to fill. While tank is getting better, support is still the underappreciated and underplayed. Because typically, you know, people want to be the people in the front lines, getting the plays of the game, and getting their name spread around out there. Playing support typically takes you out of the spotlight and puts you in the mid to back lines, where your role is to, well, support. They don't want to play those roles because they're, in their mind, boring. I say they, referring to some players who refuse to fill. And so it goes down to it becomes the responsibility of a few individuals to take the place of the people who refuse to fill and play those roles. Now this can be seen as a noble act, an act towards the greater good of the team, and in a way is. However, at the same time, it's also frustrating, as there are plenty of people who are good at other roles that are forced into filling because nobody else will. And this creates strife with the team. You know, Overwatch already has a reputation of being overly toxic, and typically in competitive and even in quick play, being forced to fill isn't something that people like to do. It's frustrating, and it's a cause of strife in the team. It causes arguments, it causes just discontent that could last the entire game. I've heard a lot of arguments based around people being forced to fill. And it's not healthy for the game, it's not healthy for a team. And like I said earlier, it is seen as a noble gesture to fill. However, in a way, while the team is getting the role that they so desperately need, they're also losing out on somebody who could be really good at a different role. Let's put this into an in-game example here. Suppose we have a Tracer main, and this person is really good at Tracer. This player deals a ton of damage as Tracer, is a great harasser, and can get crucial picks that ultimately help win the game. And they are really good at this character. And they went into a game wanting to play Tracer because that's what they're good at. That is where their skills are. However, when they load into this game, they load it in a bit late, and everybody else has already chosen their character. It's the last 20 seconds or so before the game goes into its setup phase, so this player rationalizes that we still have plenty of time, somebody could switch or fill in this time. However, as it gets closer and closer for the starting time, the player realizes that they are not going to get their wish, that nobody's going to fill, and so this player has to take it upon themselves to fill. Which, like I said, it's nice the team will eventually get what it needs. However, it also means that this team is losing the skills of the Tracer. Suppose that this team had a balanced comp of a couple healers, a couple tanks, a couple DPS, one being this Tracer. Imagine how much more effective this team would have been if this really good Tracer player was playing their main. They might end up still winning the game regardless of if this Tracer player was playing Tracer or not. But perhaps the victory would have been a lot faster or easier had this player been playing their main and somebody else had not forced this Tracer player to fill. And personally, I've never been too upset about filling. Yeah, it's caused frustration as I've gotten back into Overwatch, meaning I have to practice again because I am not good anymore. So I have to get back into the feel of Overwatch and get back into the game. And I'm trying to learn new heroes other than Reaper and Mercy. Been doing a lot of Ryan practice, and it's frustrating when I want to get Ryan practice in, but I can't because, guess what? I need to fill because nobody else will. And this is where role queue comes in, being the means to finally counter filling. And let's quickly jump over to the role queue select screen, and I'll show you what it looks like. So here we are on the quick play role queue select screen. Now this screen will pop up after you push either quick play or competitive play. And you see here we have 3 boxes representing the 3 main types of Overwatch heroes: tank, damage, and support. You choose one of these boxes or you fill in all 3 boxes, click ready, and it'll sort you into a match. If you selected all 3, it'll load you in at random into one of those roles. Or if you just chose, let's say, damage, you will eventually load into a server as the damage role. What this means is that you can play any character under that category. However, you're stuck in that category. If you selected tank and loaded into tank, you can play as any of the tank characters, but you can't switch to damage afterwards. You're locked in. You selected your role, now you have to roll with it. I'll stop with the puns. I'm sorry. I can hear you throwing tomatoes at the screen already. I'm sorry. And you're stuck in this role. However, it sorts every person into pairs of 2. Every type of hero is in pairs of 2. There's always going to be 2 tanks, 2 DPS, and 2 supports. Meaning, everything is perfectly balanced, as all things should be. You will have an equilibrium of a team comp. You will always have what you need. There will be no more deficiencies of supports. There will be no more deficiencies of tanks. Now, there's 2 of each, and that's how it's going to work. No more 5 snipers and random tank. Now it's going to be 2 tanks, 2 DPS, and 2 supports. Now, below each of these boxes is the estimated load time. Now, I know what some of you might have been thinking after looking at this for a few minutes. 5 minutes to load in as support or DPS? That's ridiculous. Now, there are factors that could explain this. First, this is still in PTR. The majority of players are still in the live branch. Second, it's only an estimation. It's not a set in stone time. It's, it could be 5 minutes before you find a game. But again, it could end up being 2 minutes and 15 seconds. It could end up being 10 seconds. You just don't know. Or it could go over the limit. It could be 6 minutes. It's an estimate, which is just an educated guess. So again, it might sound bad, but again, it's not in the live branch yet, and it's just an estimation, so time could be shorter. Anyway, enough staring at this pause screen. Let's go back to the gameplay. Now this role queue, this is going to prevent filling, and as I stated earlier, it's going to make a balanced team comp. Meaning that teams will always have exactly what they need and there will be no more need for filling. I know I'm just restating myself at this point, but just bear with me. Now, an argument that could be made against role queue would be that it's taking away one of Overwatch's greatest strength. That being the creativity of choosing your own unique team composition. And I can get behind that. I can understand where people would be coming from because that is true. One of Overwatch's greatest strengths is that it's always encouraged players to create strange, unique, and fun team comps, tailored personally to the people on this team. It's definitely one of Overwatch's current strengths. However, all good things must come to an end at some point, especially when these good things are being taken advantage of and being used to force players into roles they're not comfortable with, i.e. filling. Because again, like I said earlier with the Tracer thing, there are plenty of people who are good at other roles who are forced into filling deep tank or healer because nobody else will. So, I understand the view that it could be, interfering with and obstructing an Overwatch strength. And like I said, I can see that. However, I feel like at the same time, we're missing out on the true purpose of what these team comps are, what creativity is. Because I can guarantee you that a Widowmaker, a Hanzo, an Ana, and Ashe, and then throw together somebody else, typically a Sombra, and then some random support, rarely, or tank. I barely see that or call that as creativity. Because I've been stuck in too many quick play games where it's just nothing but snipers. And it's ridiculous because the enemy team plays normally. They have a regular team comp like a regular person would. It's normal. They have a Roadhog, a Reinhardt, a couple DPSs, and then they have an Ana and Lucio. It's a well-balanced and well-thought-out team, and here we are with a bunch of snipers that are super squishy and can't aim. Great. And I know it's just quick play. It's just sort of screwing around and practicing. Yeah, but at the same time, it's frustrating, even in quick play, when your team's incompetent. Because at the end of the day, a win's a win. It's frustrating, and I'm very thankful that role queue is going to be implemented to stop this. Because now we are no longer going to have 5 snipers. We're going to have 2 DPSs, so that could mean 2 snipers. Maybe 3 if this one of the supports is an Ana. But at the same time, at least we'll have something else to kind of balance it out. 2 tanks to still be able to absorb damage. And some supports to kind of reinforce the regular players. It's a lot better than it was before. And I'm definitely looking forward to competitive now that I don't have to fill anymore. Because now I can play what I'm good at, jump into a game, play my main, play what I want, and be able to do and still be able to help out the team that way rather than having to jump through hoops to fit what the team needs. And each day as I get closer and closer to getting back into the point where I'm like, I could probably play competitive and have fun with it, it's getting to that point again. It's reassuring to know that I can play a DPS or tank just by choosing it, and that my team will still have their role in mind when they load into the game. Because that's what they loaded in as. They're now stuck as a tank, healer, or DPS. And again, I am going to miss the idea of, swapping heroes to fit in with something else. To be able to be like, oh, I just want to swap from Reinhardt right now. I'm not feeling Reinhardt. I'm going to play Bastion for some reason. It's just for the memes. It's going to be Bastion now. I get that could be seen as fun, and then it'd be Blizzard ruining fun by getting rid of that feature, but at the end of the day, I think the update kind of pays for itself, as people are going to be able to have what the team needs, which is going to lead to more wins and more well thought out games. And you can still get plenty creative with the heroes that you have. You just gotta, it all goes down to coordination. And I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to seeing how Overwatch does with this, and honestly, I can't see it going south. I only see progression in the right direction. And honestly, once again, it shows that Blizzard is still listening to the community, because role queue has been, like I said earlier, something highly requested by the Overwatch community. And now, I'm sure people for a while have been thinking that Blizzard had either been ignoring the request or hadn't seen it. But here we are. Blizzard is finally adding it in. And I think it's going to be great. Now, I mean, let me just quickly backtrack here for a second and say that when I first heard about role queue, I wasn't entirely on board with it. In my first 3 matches of playing with it, I absolutely despised it. However, as I continued to give it a chance and keep it going, I found myself really liking it, and it was almost excruciating to go back to the live branch without it. And really, typically I'm really set my ways when I think about stuff and make decisions. I'm typically, on board with my decision, but I changed my mind. Instead of hating on role queue, I actually grew to love it. And I am really thankful that it's going to change Overwatch the way it is, because the game desperately needs it. And I'm looking forward to this next exciting chapter in Overwatch's history. Now, I know, guys, I've been playing Overwatch a lot for you folks, and I intend to bring that back. However, again, I'm still in the practicing stage. I don't want to start doing Overwatch competitive videos until I'm sure that I'm good enough to start broadcasting skills again. So competitive is returning, just it might be still a while off. But anyway, guys, I do hope you enjoyed this video. And if you have any thoughts that differ from my own, like, do you go farther than just, oh, it ruins creativity? Is there another complaint you have with role queue? What do you guys think? And like I said, the Sigma video is coming up when Sigma's ported it into the actual game. I'm just I'm showing gameplay here, but I'm not talking about him in depth yet. Anyway, guys, once again, I do hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, Maxusthebeast is out.